The governor of Anambra State, Soludo, also says he respects the rule of law, but believes a political solution could also be considered in this particular case.
I am a governor who believes in the rule of law. And in the country today, when the Supreme Court speaks, that's final. And the Supreme Court, in its wisdom and judgment, considered that he should go for a fresh trial. We can only say, I mean, we don't question that, we don't challenge that, we'll just say the rule of law will prevail. And I think that will go through its judicial process. For me personally, and as everyone knows, that I've been aware of the judicial process, but in spite of that, I have persistently and consistently called for a political solution to this issue.
Now, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this particular case between the leader of the proscribed IPOB.
All right. So after Nnamdi Kanu's court case yesterday being the 21st day of March 2025, Soludo was once again interviewed about the case of Nnamdi Kanu. And he said that, one, he believed in rule of law. That if the Supreme Court has asked for Nnamdi Kanu's release, let him be released. Again, he went ahead to say that he has been of the opinion that Nnamdi Kanu's case can be, sought out politically. Right? That is the summary of what you have heard him say. Good. Now, I have a little thing to say about this. I'm not saying this because I hate Soludo or I'm trying to, bring him down or anything. No, I love him. He's our governor. He does good work for Anambra people. So I'm not saying this, but here we tell you the truth. Yes, we tell you the truth. Well, let me say this. Soludo said he believed in rule of law, right? Now, to the best of my knowledge, Nigerian Constitution states that if you arrest a suspect, you should charge him to court within the next 24 hours. But in a case or in a situation whereby you are not able to charge him to court in the next 24 hours, that it shouldn't exceed 48 hours. That is what Nigerian Constitution says. Now, Soludo has arrested 3 popular native doctors in Anambra State for the past 2 months plus. Yes, about 2 months and 1 week now. He has arrested them. In fact, as I'm speaking to you right now, we don't know where they are. Whether they are in the cell, or whether they're in the prison, or whether they are in DSS custody, or whether they are at home, we don't know where they are. The only thing we know is that they are in the custody of Soludo. Soludo has not charged them to court. 2 months plus. Now, the last time we had Soludo talk about these native doctors, he said that they are still investigating about the allegation they laid on them. But basically, they are investigating about the so-called okite. That if they found out that blood is used in making okite, that those native doctors will face the consequences. Good. Sir, how many months does it take to do this investigation or to do this testing? Because it's actually a test. They want to run a test on okite. Probably they will get one okite and take it to lab and see the contents. Since 2 months, sir, has this not been done? Has it not been completed? This is somebody that said he believes in the rule of law. So this Akwa Tiwalake, Eke Hit, and Onyeze Jesus has been in the custody of Soludo for the past 2 months plus. Now, that one apart. Soludo said that if the Supreme Court has, dismissed or acquitted Nnamdi Kanu, that the government should release him. In a couple of days ago, we saw an interview that Soludo granted. A couple of days ago, not weeks, just about 4 days ago, Soludo granted an interview, said, release Nnamdi Kanu, then hand him over to us. You heard that, right? Let me play the video for you.
When the Northern youths issued quit notice to the Igbos. I was the chairman of the Planning and Strategy Committee of Ohanes and Igbo Worldwide. We took a census of Igbos in the north. And guess what? We came to the just some estimate of about 11.7 million Igbos in the north alone. If you have a disorderly dismemberment of this country, what a chaos for this tiny place, and so on. There are other visions for the Southeast. Why couldn't you make it a livable and prosperous homeland? Why couldn't you create new prosperity? Why do we keep blaming? So let us come together. We can turn this place to be anything we want it to become. So there are alternative viewpoints. I'd like him to be part of that conversation. And I want him, the legal process, if the courts have asked for him to be released, let him be released, hand him over. If the courts have asked for him to be released, let him be released, hand him over.
Now, you have had it. So Soludo actually want the federal government to release Nnamdi Kanu and then hand him over to them, the governors or the leaders in the Southeast. Okay, that one being apart again. Soludo said the third one, which is the last one, that he has been of the opinion that Nnamdi Kanu's case is a political solution or something that could be settled politically. Soludo, please, can you come out and tell us what you have done? The political ways or solutions you have tried to solve for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. At least, the only time we saw you visit Nnamdi Kanu was when you entered office. Yes, I think that month you entered office, you ran to Abuja to visit Nnamdi Kanu. Whether they did you, whether they anything, me, I don't know. But the only thing I know is that I saw the picture. It was a picture actually that you were hugging Nnamdi Kanu. That was the only time we've seen you with Nnamdi Kanu. I'm not sure you have visited me again, no. Now, Soludo, what political ways? We have had one of the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu come out to say, don't mind these politicians and our leaders, they are not doing anything. We have heard him say that. Now, Soludo is saying that he has been of opinion that it is a political solution. Sir, what are the solutions you are providing, or what are the solutions you have provided? We have not had one. We have not had one. Anyway, let me just allow you now to watch and see other things that he said. As you're watching this, drop your comment on the comment section. I tell you, sometimes these politicians, these leaders, they come out in the public and talk as if they are saints. But their action is not actually showing forth what they are talking. It's not. Anyway, please take a little time, watch this video, then drop your comment on the comment section.
The judgment of the Court of Appeal that ordered the federal government to release the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, from detention. The Supreme Court ordered the continuation of the trial bordering on terrorism preferred against Mr. Kanu. And in a unanimous judgment prepared by Justice Garba Mohammed but read by Justice Emmanuel Agim, the 5-member panel of justices say the federal government acted, in their words, irresponsibly when it forcefully brought Kanu back to the country from Kenya against all known laws. However, the Apex Court held that it was not enough to divest the trial court of its jurisdiction to continue with the case. Let's take a listen to the counsels.
We had hoped that it would come our way, but it has gone the other way. It simply means that we have to go back to the High Court and get done with this quickly. We still have hope. We're not in despair.
By the grace of God,
yes. So
victory is assured.
Yes, we will. We will lose a little time. We still have to go back. That's all it means. But I'm very consoled by what the Supreme Court said, that he ought not to have been treated the way he was treated. His bail ought not to have been revoked. His home ought to have been invaded. All that is a consolation to us. So we have hope.
This is victory to our administration of criminal justice. because it shows that once you are an accused person, once you are a defendant, no matter what excuse you want to bring to hide under the law to say that you should not be tried, the Supreme Court have expressly, unequivocally stated clearly that we don't have the legislation that will vitiate the court from trying a defendant that has committed a crime. You must be tried for every offense you have committed. You saw that the court came very heavy on the security agencies where they have in any way, impaired on the rights, the fundamental rights of the defendant. However, our laws have made very clear provision for remedy where there's such infraction on the right of the defendant. Then you can such a defendant can go to the civil court and then seek for civil remedies for the violation of his fundamental rights. And that is why, of course, we have the fundamental rights enforcement.
Now, the councils were not the only ones that reacted to that judgment. The governor of Anambra State, Soludo, also says he respects the rule of law, but believes a political solution could also be considered in this particular case.
I am a governor who believes in the rule of law. And in the country today, when the Supreme Court speaks, that's final. And the Supreme Court, in its wisdom and judgment, considered that he should go for a fresh trial. We can only say, we don't question that, we don't challenge that, we'll just say the rule of law will prevail. And I think that will go through its judicial process. For me personally, and as everyone knows, that I've been aware of the judicial process, but in spite of that, I have persistently and consistently called for a political solution to this issue.
Now, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this particular case between the leader of the...
So, release of Nnamdi Kanu for me is different from the issue of security. I separate the two. I don't link the two. Nnamdi Kanu for me is for us to have this conversation about a long-term future of Igbos, and that's a different conversation. For the criminals who are kidnappers, we've given them a olive branch. Come out, we train you, we empower you, we rehabilitate you. If you don't, we'll take you out.
So, Mr. Governor, I take it then that you also make a distinction between the course that Nnamdi Kanu was pursuing and the one that Simon Ekpa is pursuing.
I don't know what Simon Ekpa is pursuing. I have no idea what it is about, because I have no idea if he's pursuing any cause other than to swindle people for money. And, it's become a business because people all over the world contribute money for them. And they become super rich. So I don't know what is pursuing. Secondary care level, we've now built 5 brand new general hospitals, refurbished, modeled and modernized, 3 more, altogether 8. In fact, tomorrow when we go to Oboko, we will be commissioning one of the general hospitals that has been in operation for almost a year now. And where also we ensure that, for example, we realize the mortality rate, especially through childbirth, high up. And we decided to provide this free of all costs, free antenatal with drugs. You go for antenatal services and you are given antenatal drugs and facilities, and free delivery with over now benefited over 102,000 women gone through our free antenatal free delivery services, with about 400 delivering through cesarean operations, all free of charge in Anambra. And you see the mortality rate, child mortality rate, almost to near 0. People have access to quality care. Like I said, we actually even give you free drugs and so on. We're spending quite a fortune. In terms of the tertiary I think we're building what some say, I haven't seen the others, might be the largest trauma center in the country. It's now being equipped. It's delivered. It's at Amakwata Teaching Hospital there. We have a new smart nursing college that is up and coming. Depending if all goes well, it might be up and running before the end of the year. And then a comprehensive international cancer center that will now have a master plan, and we're going to begin to do that. So our healthcare system is one that has a complete ecosystem, from tertiary, secondary, and with a big base at the primary.
All right, so you have seen it. As I said, I love Soludo. I love him. He's doing a good work in Anambra State, but the truth must be told. Now, drop your comment on the comment section what you think about this video, right? Thank you very much. I'll see you in my next video. God bless you.